You're welcome back, and of course, this show is very interactive, so you can join us with all your concerns regarding this very important subject, illegal mining, by leaving your comments, your questions on our social media handles. We are live on Facebook, we are live on X, we are live on YouTube, and of course, Manjoy Online. We'll start from where we left it last week. The scale of illegal mining has reached a critical tipping point. The country's primary water sources are now contaminated with toxic chemicals, and looming health crisis is becoming an alarming reality. This week, Joy News brings you a series of reports exposing the extent of Galamsey activities in the Ashanti, Central, Western, and other resource-rich regions where illegal miners are digging anywhere in search of gold whilst the government looks on. Let's start with President Akufo-Addo's pledge to tackle the problem when he took office in 2017.
No, swear to uphold its sovereignty. That is that the care of the nation, what's in it, its people, its resources, its nature have been put in your care temporarily as a trustee. Like Nananum are trustees of the lands on which they occupy for their people. So you are too at the national level a trustee of the lands and the resources of our nation. So you ask yourself, how best can you discharge this trust? You sit back and say, well, all these young men don't have anything to do, so let it go on. At least it's better that they're earning something than they should be at home and perhaps causing other kinds of problems. When you know that the activities that they're involved in are jeopardizing the very survival of our nation, I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. And as a result, we established this committee within the government to design a policy for us, not just to stop it, to reclaim the land, to let our rivers work again, but also to see how we can figure a way for all these able-bodied young men who are involved in this activity to find an alternative livelihood. So it's a package. It's a package that we have designed to try and bring this menace to a conclusion. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps this is the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do.
So this was in 2017, and President Akufo-Addo was quite clear about the danger that Galamsey posed and his commitment to fight it. And to the extent that he said he was putting his presidency on the line to get it out of the way. The question is, has he been successful in tackling Galamsey? Well, his second term and final is just some few months away, and just about ending in some few months. And of course, the situation has rather gotten worse. We'll tell you what the two main political parties plan to do in their latest manifesto. But before we get there, let me bring you two reports from our correspondents who have been on the ground looking into the devastation and the impact on the people. Asare Donkor visited communities around River and Cobra in the Western region, and this is what he found.
Sebi, Makana 3 times. Ankobra River, situated in the western region of Ghana, flows through the Dwaboso and Nzema East districts. Direct mining on the river in many of the communities along its path has reduced its integrity. The Ankobra is contaminated. The 2023 testing of samples from various catch points revealed high levels of arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, and other harmful metals from Galamsey.
I know of MMDCs and MPs in some communities who have employed people to do Galamsey for them. Even some chiefs in some communities do Galamsey.
At the estuary, where it joins the sea at Axim, residents of Ankobra town are bearing the brunt of the pollution.
This is what remains of a once beautiful, clean estuary where the Ankobra joins the sea. It is now a milky, polluted river joining the sea here. And it is denying a lot of residents here jobs, tourism, and livelihoods. We are here to find out more.
Assembly member for the area, Patrick Isua, confirms the illegal mining operations in and around the Ankobra are eroding the economic gains of the community.
Due to the Galamsey activities, we have lost three things. One is tourism. The second one is the source of water. And the third one is jobs. Why am I saying so? Because it has affected us economically. Yes, so we are suffering. We are suffering because of the Galamsey activity.
The fishermen and the women who sell their catch are out of jobs.
Previously, we used to catch some fishes here at the estuary, but with the onset of the Galamsey, all of them are gone. We used to fish August, September, October, November, December, 5 months, but now we can only fish for 2 months and we are running at a loss.
Houses at the estuary have flooded recently. Former assembly member for Ankobra town, Mr. Morke, believes the silting of the river by Galamsey is to blame.
Now the Galamsey that they are doing is very closer to the Ankobra River. So that's why it's causing the flood in the community, because the sand that they dig and the river that they heap over there flows into the Ankobra River. And now the river is being wide, so the water that comes from the top to this place is more than previous one that we have been seeing. So the Galamsey is directly, that's what is giving us problem in this community.
The constant pollution of the Ankobra River by Galamsey is a violation of the right to clean and potable water. Until government finds a solution to this, people's lives will be affected. From the estuary, Ankobra town, reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asare Donkor.
So this is what Erastus found in the western region when he visited the banks of the Ankobra River, which is also highly polluted because of activities of illegal mining. Now, later today, features editor Richard Kojonako will release our latest hotline documentary in which the Ghana Water Company is recommending that Ghana's rivers and water bodies be made national security zone in order to protect them from illegal mining and other abuses. The documentary is titled Poison Rivers. Here are extracts of the documentary.
Despite the odds, the Ghana Water Company perseveres. The treated water, painstakingly processed from the sludge, is finally pumped into the homes of hopeful residents. But the struggle is evident in every drop. The water, although clear to the eye, carries the heavy weight of a journey fraught with threats of contaminants.
I think that, like other countries do, water bodies are national security issues. They are national security zones. If Water Resources Commission do working in its They are civilians, but it's under the Ministry of Defense. And let's test the resilience of our military and see whether that problem will not be resolved. As at now, yes, once in a while we bring them in to go on, but that's a flash, it goes off. But if you make it their responsibility, and they cannot stop our water bodies to be polluted, how can they guarantee citizens that when there is an invasion of foreign forces, they will be able to stop them? And I believe strongly that if it becomes a national security issue, and Water Resources Commission, though it's a civilian department, but under the jurisdiction and supervision of the military or national security, I'm sure this still will give me 100 days. I'm sure it will be, because they will be marked by the quality of water. And I know the men. I know what they can do if given that responsibility. So I think that we've gotten to a stage where we need to be brute about it, we need to be truthful about it, we need to confront it head on. If we leave it in the hands of politicians, look, Mr. A will be saying, when you are come, I'll bring them back. Mr. B will say, when I come, I'll make sure they don't do it. And it becomes a game.
But it's the politicians that control these.
So that's what I'm saying. That so move it off their jurisdiction, under the jurisdiction of CDS, and see whether there will not be a change. For me, if given the opportunity, that's what I will.
And of course, the full documentary will air at 8:30 this evening on Joy News. And of course, subsequently, we'll hear it on Joy 99.7 FM and of course on all our bulletins. Just to give you an idea of the scale of this challenge that we face as a country. And this is what you have. So, for example, what you're seeing on our touch screen is the map of Africa. We have selected some, towns and communities in Ghana badly affected by illegal mining. The reason why we are having this conversation, now we have been told that the Ghana Water Company, even in the absence of illegal mining, is able to produce or meet 70% of the water demand of this country. Now we have been told that they are only able to do 40% of it. And so the warning is that if nothing is done about the current situation we find ourselves in the next 2 years, it will be impossible for Ghana Water to, meet the water demand of this country. So this is what we've been able to put together. So for example, the Ghana Water Company, that's what you've seen. So we are talking about Ghana and the areas that they have been working. This is the Akimoda Headworks, the Ghana Water Company. So clearly on your left, on your screen on your left, is the state of the water that the Ghana Water Company, they've been, if you like, purifying or making it user-friendly for me and you to drink or use it for any other thing I want to use the water for. And the water is almost like, brown in color, quite a departure from the color of water that we know. And this is just the Ghana Water Company Limited Akimoda Headworks. And you can see the headworks not so far from the water body. And this water body serves as a primary source of water for the Ghana Water Company Headworks to treat and then distribute it to the communities and towns around it. Let's move to another area. And this is River Ofin, a very popular river in the country. And this is the state of the River Ofin. So look at the stream and the activities of illegal mining around River Ofin. So River Ofin is where you have, the sensor pointed, and just around it, from left to right, you have, illegal mining activities all over, making it difficult for the water to have its natural color and to serve its natural purpose. And this just clearly doesn't suggest that somebody is not aware of what is going on. The River Ofin is highly polluted. Let's move to another river that we've been working on, and that should be on your screen very soon from River Ofin. We move to Ankobra, and we brought you that story some few minutes ago. My colleague, Asare Donkor, brought you that story. This was done just last Friday, so it's very latest. But this is the state of the Ankobra River. And look at the scale of illegal mining just around it. So how possible is this river body going to have any kind of peace if, pits have been dug and the river Ankobra now become the primary source of water for the illegal miners to wash their gold and then go and sell them. And it's this same river that also serves as drinking water for a lot of people in and around the Ankobra area. And as you heard the assemblyman speak, he said that, tourism is now nothing to write home about. The young people in the area have no jobs. And of course, even using the river for their daily activities has become so difficult because of the state of the river Ankobra. And Asare Donkor captured it well when you brought him that report. Let's take a closer look at the other areas badly affected by illegal mining. And so from the river of India, we go to River Pra. And clearly, you see the River Pra, the Church of Pentecost is just around. The Chefo Atimo Mokwa District Hospital, not far from the river. But this is the state of the River Pra. So from all the rivers that I've shown you so far, clearly none has been spared the ravages of illegal mining. And this is what we are witnessing in the country as we speak. The reason why the Ghana Water Company is so emphatic that if nothing is done about it, they will have no option than in some cases shut down the treatment plants so that the state of the river and the level of pollution does not go on to destroy the machines that they have in terms of, making the water available for you. And then you have, again, this is a school which is so close to an illegal mining site, virtually, some few meters away from it. And this is Yao Kasakrum DA. DA is District Authority Government School. And this is, this is the scale of destruction done by illegal miners. With so much impunity, as if no law exists in this country to check their activities. And this is being witnessed everywhere, from the central to the western, to the Ashanti, to the eastern, and now, as we have been told, even in parts of the northern region. That is the scale of destruction that we are talking about. Let's move to, this is also another school, Esiachem DA Basic School, and Esiachem DA Basic School. Look at the community. The community is on the one side of the town and illegal miners on the other side. It is only a road that is dividing the scale of what the illegal miners have done to the environment and the community. And I'm absolutely certain that if nothing is done about it in the next few years to come, they will extend the activities to even cover, the community itself, to move them out of their present places of abode so that they can do their illegal mining. And this is Esiachem DA Basic School. Two more, and then we can have a conversation on this matter. This is also Manso Kwayebo. This is also what you see, a forest there, and then activities of illegal mining. And then finally, this is the Accra-Kumasi Highway, the busiest road in Ghana. This is on the highway. And this matter, the Interior Minister promised to, take a look at it and have this fixed. So this is the Accra-Kumasi Highway. And this is just after in Sawam. And this is what is happening now. I'm sure that if you go to places like Konongo, you will find similar story to tell. But this is just after Sawam on the Accra-Kumasi Highway. And clearly, the activities is eating, the environment slowly, and very soon, I'm sure they will get on the main road, and then we will have, an issue on our hands. So this is the scale of the destruction, done by illegal miners. And they are doing so because nobody is checking them. And if somebody is checking them, that person is clearly not doing this or very well. We would like to hear from you as well. Well, that will be later in the program. And this afternoon, we are just getting information about the situation in Obuasi, which we are told is facing looming water crisis. The Odasu River, which the Ghana Water Company relies to produce water for the people, is heavily polluted. And Obuasi, as you know, is a mining. So guess what? Due to illegal mining, Emmanuel Bright Kweku has more in the following report.
Illegal mining activities along river bodies continue unabated in the Ashanti region, damaging water sources intended for domestic and agricultural use. The Odasu treatment plant serves residents in Obuasi and its surrounding communities, but the plant faces an imminent shutdown. The Oda River running through the plant is now polluted beyond its initial turbidity and coloration levels. Dr. Hansen Akute is the Chief Manager, Ashanti Production Region of the Ghana Water Limited.
The Odasu treatment plant was designed to produce about 4 million capacity plants. So 4 million capacity plants. For every treatment plant, you must run what we call 24/7 processes. In other words, 24 hours continuously and 7 days within the week. Odasu alone, we are not able to run the 24/7 days continuously because of the Galamsey. So we do what we call the batch system. Out of the 1.5 million gallons a day, which is about 664 meter cube a day, we are able to treat just about 3776 meter cube a day. So technically, the volume has reduced such that we cannot even meet the demand of the people of Obuasi. Where it's possible, we may shut down, and the best option is to transfer water from Kumasi to Obuasi.
A similar situation is encountered by the water treatment plant in Konongo as illegal mining activities threaten the only source of water in the area.
Currently, we are just abstracting about 1 million gallons a day for Konongo. And of the 1 million gallons a day, what it means is that we are just able to produce about 780,000 gallons a day. Invariably, we are just using about 22% of the design capacity of the plant, of which we must be the demand of the people in Konongo. Invariably, because also there's an infestation of Galamsey activity all over the enclave of the river Enum in the Konongo, which we abstract for treatment. And the turbidity of Konongo has also risen so high.
The cost of treating the polluted water is impacting heavily on the operational costs of the water company, threatening sustainable production.
In the past, we were using just about 0.1 pesos Ghana said to treat 1 meter cube. But currently, we are using about 6 cities, 74 pesos to treat a cent increase in costs. We were able to import a more generic spectrum coagulant, which we call the polymer. This coagulant is very expensive because of the broad or the wide nature of its effectiveness. And it's almost the last resort of which you use in treating your system because the cost is not advisable to use on plants such like this or in developing countries like this because you cannot continue to sustain your operations.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Right, so my colleagues, Asare Donkor, he was in the Western region, which we spent months to put together this documentary that you will see later this evening on Joy News at 8:30. Manuel Bright Cook is also being out and about trying to understand what is going on. And later, and then when they are done, I'll bring in the experts to tell me what they make of the current situation. Colonel retired Festus Abwai is a security expert. Awula Serwah is with Eco-Conscious NGO, and of course Stanley Martin is communications manager with the Ghana Water Company. And we'll hear what Parliament intends to do with this issue. Al-Hassan Suhinem is a ranking on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee in Parliament. But we've also been looking around. So who really is responsible to ensure sanity in our forests and, of course, regarding our river bodies? And this is what we managed to pull out. So there you have it, the Ghana Water Company. I mean, their job is well cut out, everybody knows. They are supposed to, make water available to our homes so that we can use it for our daily activities. There's also the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. So the water company sits under the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. There's Lands Commission, the work that they do Forestry Commission responsible for the protection of our forests and other related activities, environmental protection agencies ensure that our environment is protected from invaders like we are witnessing now. There's also the Water Resources Commission. We heard them this morning. They say that Ghana Water Company is unable now to produce more than 70%, but they are doing 40% instead of the 100% that the water company is mandated to do. And of course, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the mother ministry that led the fight against illegal mining. And what we are seeing now, perhaps, will be enough to put to the test whether they've been successful or not. But let me bring in Erastus and of course, and Emmanuel Bright. Erastus, I trust you are back safely in Kumasi, but you arrive in Kumasi with bad news from the Ankobra River.
Exactly. And Elton, you know, this is not the first time we've been talking about this. I started working on this way back 3 years ago.
Right.
Started sounding the warning bells. At that time, the turbidity around the Dabwasi area was around 1,800. Then we went back, did another report. The turbidity was around 7,000 at the time. And now we are recording 14,000. And it tells you that it has been worsening along the line. Now, all the places we have been, in fact, we have traced the rift from, various points. And you could see Shamfan machines sitting on it at various points. Chifo Praso, Chifo Timokwa area. You have people who have directed their residue, mining residue, directly into the river and are washing, contaminated water from mining directly into the Pra River. What is so worrying is that when you go to Atrebuanda, the people who have lived and worked around the Pra for years, now they buy aluminium sulfate, the one they call alum, for 1 cedi, 2 cedis, and they fetch the water, mix it, it settles the particles, and then they use the cleared water to bath. Without even knowing the consequences, they think that once the water is clear, they can use it, but it has poisonous metals in there. And so it's a grave situation that we're dealing with. And unfortunately, when you have every major river in your country highly polluted and contaminated, we still have a government that is not even attending to it or showing leadership and saying that this is what we intend to do to even fix the problem. That is worrying.
But Erastus, I mean, the place you visited is under the jurisdiction of either an assembly or a municipal assembly. And of course, if you want to move it even further, there's a regional security council. Is it a case that these people are working with so much impunity because nobody is checking their activities?
I tell you, you just go through the Wasa area on the Ayamfree Road. For once, you ask yourself whether there is any chief or DC or even the police are present in that area, because they are doing it by the main Ayamfree Road. The huge pits you see by the roadside, it will shock you. And the washing boards, the artisanal washing boards that are washing directly by the roadside, and you see the residue flowing like a river along the main Biafra Ayamfree Road. For once, when I saw it, I asked myself whether the president has a representative in that area. And so, yes, the areas we've gone, there are MMDCs over there. They are heads of the municipal, metropolitan or district security councils. They are in control of the police and others. You have the police in those jurisdictions. In some of our investigations, it came clear that even some police officials and some military men have bought Shamfan machines that do daily sales for them, including chiefs. And so the problem is so endemic within the communities. And some of the people, the residents, are buying into it. They are happy because they feel it gives them daily bread. And so even when you are trying to do reports or act on something, they tell you that, no, we want it to remain as it is. And that is the nature of the problem as we have it now.
Right. And then finally, so that I can bring in Richard Kojo. I mean, we are dealing with two issues here. Illegal mining and also the possibility of a small-scale mine and licensed to undertake mining. So which category of people are you focusing on this very moment? Did you come across people who are licensed to undertake mining also going about doing this illegality?
Currently, when you go to the forest areas where many of the tributaries of these major rivers come from, you find out people who are supposedly they have licenses. That's what they tell me. When I demand the licenses, what they bring to you is not complete. They have either started, are not complete, and they are going around digging everywhere, or they don't have it at all.
Right.
All the places we've been. Now, you see that they put their washing bay directly at the edge of the river. And we saw that.
Well, it looks like we've lost Erastus Asare Donkor. Erastus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, please go on.
The washing bay directly at the edge of the river, and they are washing directly into the river.
So it's difficult to differentiate between who is doing illegal and who has a license, because they are virtually doing the same thing.
And I tell you that these are criminal activities because the law frowns on washing into a major river. It even says that per the river you have, you move, the buffer zones are clearly stated in the law, 100 meters, 50 meters, depending on which river you are dealing with. But you find people who say they have licenses washing directly into a major river like the Tano River, like the Ankobra, like the Pra. You have people sitting directly on the river and mining into the river itself, as we have seen in the Nzema areas where the Ankobra passes through.
Right.
And so you ask yourself whether this is seen by the security agencies. And I know that there are BNI officials who file daily reports from the communities for the sake of the security chain. So what is happening? And that's the question we are asking.
And of course, we're going to put that question to the other resource person we have on the show this afternoon. But I'd like to thank you very much, Asare Donkor. Let me bring in Rachel Kwajonyako, who is the man who just who's put together a documentary titled Poison Rivers. Richard, good afternoon. Welcome to the pod. So we've heard you in that interview with the managing director of the Ghana Water Company talking about the fact that we should declare these areas security zones so that national security can fully take charge of what is happening, because the situation is making it difficult for them to do their work and do it well. Beyond that, tell us the foundation upon which this documentary came up about. I mean, the destruction that the illegal mining is causing, making it so difficult for Ghana Water Company to do their work well.
Well, so Elton, I have stayed at the Chufu-Praso area, during my early days, and I schooled there, so we used to go to the farm, and the Pra River served as a source of drinking water whenever we were going to farm and returning as well. But you return, and the same water that you depended on years ago, now they've turned into some thick substance, something that the community folk around the Pra River at the Chufu-Praso area are unable to use it for anything. And so I went to the Chufu-Etimokwa area, Chufu-Praso, and then I came down to the Shama area where we went to the Anlo Beach to gauge the impact of the devastating consequences of the Galamsey activities. And so it did not end there. We decided to also visit these installations, the Ghana water treatment systems. And so we went to the Boase, we went to the Sachahiman water treatment plant, we went to the Brimso, went to the one at Mankesim to gauge the impact. And to our surprise, it was very heartbreaking. In fact, you go and then you look at where the production or the intake plant of the Ghana Water Company is, and then just a few meters away, you will still see people mining in the river. In fact, they are heavily armed, and so they are unable to, the Ghana Water Company, they deploy security forces, but they would open fire once they also do so, and so it becomes very, very difficult for them. You also see chemicals that the Ghana Water Company, they have bought, chemicals that ordinarily they wouldn't have used, because in earlier times they used alum, but now they have advanced, because the alum has lost its potency as far as treating the Galamsey endemic water that they abstract. So it's become very, very difficult. Apart from the water treatment system and then the water challenges that the community folk are facing, and you saw that last week, the Ghana Water Company issued a statement indicating that the people in Cape Coast and part of Elmina, they are facing water shortages. I live in Cape Coast. I have my family there, and now it's what they have resorted to is water rationing. And so today you get water, tomorrow you are not guaranteed to get water. But that water issue aside, you look at the people that are downstream, people that are the recipient of the impact of the Galamsey, and you open your mouth and say, so you go to Danlo Beach, for instance, and then they live by the river, but they cannot use the river to do anything. And so if you go into the community, you see polytanks that have been placed at vantage points, and you know what they use the polytanks to do?
Tell me.
It is when it rains that they get water seeping into the polytanks for them to fetch, to do other household chores. And then occasionally, I mean frequently, you see that sachet water vehicles move to the community. You would imagine that this community is a poor, I mean, the people, inhabitants are very poor people. Now they would have to cough up money to buy sachet water to do their household chores and then to also drink as well. They are going to the farm. They need to also still use sachet water in going to the farm. But in times past, they tell me that river, Pra River, was the river that they were using. Exactly.
Main source. But I'd like to find out, what about diseases as a result of what we are talking about this afternoon?
So go to the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, go to the Shama, the health facilities, and they have recorded, I mean, triple. I mean, the disease that they use, not waterborne diseases, typhoid, and the others. Now they are recording in multiples. People are coming because, I mean, if you use it, if you use it to cook, if you drink it and all of that, it has consequences. And when I spoke with the professors of chemistry and medical officers at the various health facilities, they told me that, in fact, the kind of discoveries they are having as a result of people coming from the western region, from the Chufo-Prasu area and all of that, it's something that they have not witnessed before. And so they are praying that something urgent could be done about this.
Well, Kweri, thank you very much. And of course, the full documentary will be aired at 8:30 this evening on Joy News. Let me quickly touch base with Emmanuel Bryce. Emmanuel, so what's your story this afternoon?
All right, so Elton, this is a story that is coming from the Ghana Water Limited here in the Ashanti region regarding some of the treatment plants in the region that are threatened by illegal mining activities. And they cited specifically those in the Obuasi area, that's the Odaso treatment plant, and also one at Konongo area. And they are saying that illegal mining activities is really hampering activities over there. That is to say, when you go to the Odaso River specifically, initially it was supposed to have a capacity of, let's say, 4 million to produce 4 million gallons of water per day. But now they can do just 1 million. And even with the 1 million, just some small amount of it can be processed into safe water. Some 40% of it, the 60%, they're unable, it just goes waste. And so they have cautioned that if the chief manager for the Ashanti region even was contemplating that he wished that that particular treatment plant will be shut down because they are unable to treat this particular water. They are using a lot of chemicals, and he specifically stated that with this particular chemical, you are supposed to use it as your last alternative. That is, if every alternative you have has exhausted, that's when you go in for this particular treatment. But now that is what they are using, and it is putting a lot of pressure on their financial cost or operational activities at the Ghana Water Limited. And so going forward, if care is not taken, that's if these activities by illegal miners are not stopped, those in your Boise enclave and its surrounding communities can face some form of water shortages. And when you go to Obuasi now, that is where I come from. When you go to Obuasi, you find that some of the houses...
And Obuasi is a major mining town.
It's a major mining town. And so illegal mining activities dotted almost everywhere. Just last week, I was going home and I realized that along the stretch, I saw some people actively mining. I was wondering, what is really happening? Is it that they don't see? Are there no police or any authorities to see? Because it's glaringly happening along the road, but nothing is really being done. But when you go to the Obuasi Township itself, some of these houses, they have dug out well, and so that's what they are using to for domestic use. But those who rely on the Odaso River specifically, if care is not taken, they might not get water. And even the Ghana Water Limited also cannot produce water to the Obuasi enclave. And the manager specifically said they would have to transport water all the way from Kumasi, that's the Ashanti region, to Obuasi. From Kumasi to Obuasi, that's according to the chief manager. But also when you go to...
Yes, please go on.
When you go to the Konongo area as well, I think some few weeks ago, Erastus reported on how illegal mining activities is happening also along the road. And so the Ghana Water Limited has also indicated that that particular treatment plant in the area too is being infested by illegal mining activities. It's happening all along the banks of the water, even on the river itself. That's where it's happening. That's the Owari River.
Right.
And so, Elton, that is what is happening here in the Ashanti region. So if care is not taken, the Ghana Water Limited, as reported from the central region, the people in Ashanti region, specifically Obuasi and also Konongo, might not get water.
And Emmanuel, briefly, I mean, what about Greater Kumasi? Is this in any way affecting water supply for Greater Kumasi?
All right, so for Greater Kumasi, not really the case, because the Greater Kumasi, we have the Barakesi Dam and also the Owabi treatment plant giving us water. But the chief operator, the manager, cited that there is algal bloom on this particular water treatment. That's because farmers along the river using organic fertilizers, and that is leaching into the water body over there. That's the treatment plant over there. So that's also a concern they raised. But with regards to the illegal mining activities, for now, these areas, the Owabi treatment plant and then Barakesi, do not have really an issue, but it's regards to the farming practices. That's what is affecting them.
Right. Emmanuel Bright Kweku, thank you so much for that report from the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi. So, I mean, how are we dealing with this matter? And are we doing it the right way? Let me bring in the General Manager in charge of Public Relations with Ghana Water Company, Stanley Mate. Also, I have on the line Awula Serwah, Eco-Conscious NGO. Mr. Mate, good afternoon.
Yeah, right. Good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
And of course, Awula, also good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
All right, great. So let me start with Mr. Mate. Mr. Mate, clearly, Ghana Water Company appears to be at the receiving end as we talk about activities of illegal mining. This morning, I heard the Executive Director of the Water Resources Commission say that currently you are doing 40% of your capacity. That means that you are not able to serve everybody.
Yes,
does it suggest a very gloom situation?
Yeah, that has got to do with one of the treatment plants in the central region, and we have 92 systems. Now, out of these 92 systems, about 85% of them are undergoing the same process, because all the river bodies in the country currently are polluted as a result of illegal mining or alluvial mining. Apart from the Volta River, okay, all other river bodies in Ghana, which or where the Ghana Water Company abstracts water for treatment, have been polluted or has been polluted. So it's a serious issue, and we are producing under capacity in all these treatment plants. Some of them 40%, some of them 50%, some of them 60%, and some of them even less. Beyond a certain limit, it becomes economically, or it wouldn't be prudent for us to treat the water. So then we just shut down. So that is the situation as we speak.
And you have done it before, especially in the Chebi area. I remember about 2 years ago.
Exactly. Last year, we had to shut down the Dawasi treatment plant for about a month. And some of the other treatment plants within the Ashanti region. For instance, the Konongo treatment plant has seen the same thing. The Dasu treatment plant, we had to shut down sometimes. So it happens all the time. But now it's becoming serious because the cost of production keeps increasing. Like we're all saying, now we are no longer using the alum, we are using the polymer. Okay, and the polymer is about 3 times more expensive than that of the alum. So production continually is becoming expensive, and it's important that we all find a way to stop this alluvial mining in the country. And I don't want to use Galamsey or illegal mining, because whether legal or illegal, if you mine in the water, you pollute it and it affects us. So it's alluvial mining, okay? So if we have to stop anything, it is alluvial mining. Whether you are licensed to mine in the river or not, we have to stop it because it's affecting productivity, it's affecting our health, it's affecting the cost of treatment, and it's affecting the entire nation.
So how are you surviving as a company in terms of balancing your books? Because clearly, you have to undertake production every single day, and the cost will go up every day. The PLC sets their tariff for you quarterly. Sometimes they even reduce it. They even reduce it. So in terms of finding the resources to continually produce water so that people can get water to use, how are you surviving? How are you managing it?
So you know that we are the sole producer for water in the country, especially for urban areas. So if you have to stop production, it's really going to affect the entire nation.
But are we getting there? Are we getting to that situation?
Sorry?
Are we getting to that situation?
Yes, it will get to a point where we may have to shut down. Anytime we have to shut down, we do. Because beyond a certain limit, it becomes, it's no longer feasible for us to treat the water. So for instance, if you have to treat mud, you have to extract water from mud. Okay, what is the volume of water that you will get? For instance, you extract water from the river, okay, and then about 60 to 70% is all silt. I mean, what would the 30% do? And then you have to use even a lot of chemicals just to get to that 30%. So it's no longer feasible. At that point, it's no longer feasible for us to treat the water. So we shut down. Okay, sometimes even with the 30%, it doesn't meet the Ghana Standards Authority standards for drinking water. So why do we pump such water into the system? So we shut down.
Are you in any way suggesting that perhaps even the water we are getting may not be wholesome?
If it is not wholesome, we wouldn't pump into the system. You understand? We have standards for treating water. So if the water leaves the treatment plant, then it means it meets the standard. If it can't meet the standard, we shut down.
Let me bring in Awula Serwah.
That's why I keep saying, every time, that if water is flowing through our taps, then it is good, potable, and wholesome for consumption. Other than that, we will shut it down because we can't pump unwholesome water into the system.
Right.
We have standards, okay? You are supposed to treat water according to World Standards Authority, that of the Ghana Standards Authority, and even per our own standards as a company, as a world-class company like Ghana Water Company Limited. We have our own standards. If you don't meet our standards, we don't pump the water into the system. So we shut down.
Right. Mr. Mate, hold it for me. Let me bring in Awula. Awula, so clearly the Ghana Water Company is helpless. Unfortunately, the Ghana Water Company is not the police. It is not the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. The Ghana Water Company is not the Interior Minister. They can only raise the concerns that they have and the challenges they are facing in giving me and you potable drinking water. What more can be done? I know you have concerns about the LI and the fact that we are not angry enough, and the fact that there's no political will. Should we just throw our hands in the air and say that there is a situation we have, let's just accept it and move on? There's something that even in the mix of what we are facing, we can do.
Well, you see, what I would say is that what we have now is a problem of a governance. Are we in the Wild West or do we have a government? It's about compliance and enforcement. I think we should move the argument now. It's not necessarily about illegal mining. It's illegal. They are committing a crime. When people commit a crime, what happens when there's law and order? It's only in the Wild West that everybody can do what they like and the authorities stand idly by. Where there's a government in place, you cannot. If you won't comply, then the law takes its force. Either we declare a state of emergency and we go and secure our forests, our waters, and so on and so forth. And as Mr. Martin rightly put it, there's no difference in that sense between whether you have a license or you don't have a license. Nobody has a license to pollute and poison Ghanaians. What is happening now is that we are all being poisoned. We are being poisoned because we're in the Wild West. So all I'll suggest now is that let's move the argument. It's a question of no enforcement of our laws and regulations. And Ghanaians should be angry enough. Yes, I might sound like a spoiled record, but Ghanaians must be angry enough to march to Flagstaff House and say that we are calling a general strike until you declare a state of emergency, and we have security forces who I know are very capable. You can't tell me that we're not capable of securing our water bodies and our forests. If that is the case, then we have no business suggesting that we're going to send troops to Burkina. And if there's a foreign country decides to invade us, then we'll be helpless. Of course we are not. So let's show some leadership. There's no need putting anybody's presidency on the line when 7 years later we're all being poisoned and we just sit there having discussions upon discussions. They're not getting us anywhere.
But you know that we are in September, few months, in fact 96 days to the general elections. I mean, the task force work appears to have stalled. Do you see some kind of political convenience in here such that everybody is looking for votes, so let me not be so hard on activities of illegal mining?
But that's what I'm saying, that Ghanaians need to understand. Do you want to be poisoned? You see, I'm not convinced that the water coming through our taps is free of the toxic metals. I am not convinced. So if Ghanaians are happy to be poisoned, then so be it. I, for instance, am not happy to be poisoned. And I think that it seems like, as I said, there's no government. What is the point of looking for votes to come and preside over a poisoned nation? What is happening now is sheer wickedness. Sheer wickedness. You can stop this poisoning yesterday if you wanted to, but you are not doing it because of what? It's not only the illegal miners who are human beings. What about the farmers? What about the fishermen who have lost their livelihood? What about communities who can't even farm any longer, who have no form of livelihood? Because wicked persons are supervising over the poisoning of a nation. As we speak, our forest reserves are being desecrated. We are granting licenses to go into forest reserves. And then if you look at the manifestos of the two parties, they're talking about licensing miners. When we just found out that the problem is not licensing, the problem is compliance and enforcement.
Right.
We've lost a lot, and we really need to do something before we all die from poisoning.
Let me bring in Richard Kumado. He's a security expert. So Richard, from a security point of view, what really is the problem?
I think the problem is unwillingness of government to deal with this issue decisively and precisely. If government wants to stop it, they would have stopped it. That, to the extent that government is complicit or some key officers of government are complicit, that's where we are. And I can understand the frustration of the lady that says that we are being poisoned. We have investigated issues of Galamsey and the immediate and the future effects in all those areas. And it is very serious. But to the extent that we are playing like a difficult attitude with it, that is where we are. In terms of security, one of the difficulties we are facing is that many of the holes we are digging, we don't know who comes in and who goes out, what they brings in and what they brings out. You have a whole lot of youth that are not working. If somebody wants to sabotage our nation or particular communities, they may conspire with some of these guys and they may take us unaware. So those are some of the difficulties we are facing. If you look at the terrorism attack in Togo recently, it's surrounded around issues of Galamsey and many of these deep holes they are digging around the place. And I think it is time people begin to speak about it and we do something about it.
The Ghana Water Company, the statement that came from that office last week, made an appeal to the security agencies to help in dealing with the challenges that they are facing. Must it come to this? Shouldn't we have intelligence to say that we should be proactive to deal with the matter before, a state agency brings it to light?
Definitely, I agree with you to that extent. If we are talking about security, is it local security within those areas? Do they have the manpower? Will they have the free hand to work? we did have the support from government. Remember, even we put in the military, Galamsey, whatever it is, and the like a difficult attitude of what we did. I think money is playing an overriding effect over stopping these issues of Galamsey. I don't know whether other corporate civil society organizations, we are going to get involved and they will take the issue to a little bit higher level. Other than that, I think the blind eye of people who must act right is the one creating this problem. I can understand they calling the security to help, but brother, where you say, do you think the security will really help? They will just turn a blind eye, and they will allow society and communities to be destroyed. Farms are being destroyed, livelihoods are being destroyed, and not just the water bodies, but it's a compilation of a full list of many of the things that we cherish most that are being destroyed. And that is where we are as a nation.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Richard Kumado, security expert. Let me wrap up this conversation again with Mr. Mante with the Ghana Water Company. So, Mr. Mante, I'm also worried about your workers in their attempt to ensure that the proper thing is done. Don't they compromise their security because of the environment that they operate, and how dreadful these illegal miners can be?
As one of the challenges that we are facing at our treatment plants, and most of our treatment plants are sited in remote areas.
Yes.
So sometimes, anytime there's a swoop on the people, they assume that it is our staff who have reported them. So they go there at midnight and beat them up. Sometimes, inflict wounds and stuff on them and all that. So it's a serious issue. It's happening in Odaso, it's happening in the West, it's happening in most of our treatment plants. So now we are helpless. The only thing we can do is to manage the situation and do public education. So together with the Water Resources Commission, we do a lot of public education for the community folks to appreciate reasons why they should disallow the illegal mining in our water bodies to go on. Okay, so it's a serious issue, and our staff are not armed. Okay, so what can they do when these people come armed and sometimes with clubs and stakes and all manner of stuff? They just wake up at dawn or at midnight, round everybody up and beat them up and all that. So, and most of them don't come from that community. They come from other communities, so they are not known.
And how rampant is this?
So you can't let him call for you to even report to the police and then identify that this guy was part of the mob that beat us up. So it's a serious challenge. So every time we need to give them protection, but it's serious. So that means you've recorded physical injuries on some of your staff? Several times.
And nobody has been arrested in connection with some of the assaults?
Like I say, most of them don't come from that same community. They come from elsewhere, so they are not known. And some of them are foreigners, so they are not known. Okay, if they are members of the community, then we can identify that it is Mr. Kusasi's son or Mr. Abudu's daughter. But they are not known. Okay, so it becomes very difficult. Seriously, it becomes very, very difficult.
So what's the way forward as far as Ghana Water Company is concerned?
We just manage the situation. One, we are doing education. Two, we'll make do with the little that we have. And then when it gets to the point where we no longer can treat the water, we just shut it down. So if at a point where the whole community is not getting water, then we wake up. Or the whole country is not waking up to the call, then whatever happens after, we have ourselves to blame. And like I said, I've been saying, research has always shown that if the rate of pollution, the rate at which the pollution is currently ongoing, if it should continue the same way, then by 2030, we may have to be importing water into the system. So if with all the endowments that we have, Ghana is really endowed with water, but most countries in the world do not have the sort of endowment that we have, and we are mismanaging them. Okay, so if after all this, we have to import water from, let's say, countries where they are not equally endowed as us, then how do you describe us?
Okay.
It's a serious situation. Okay, and it's important that we all wake up. We all have a role to play. For me, I don't want us to situate it only with government, but we all as individuals have a role to play. Now, those involved in the illegal mining are related to us. They are our friends, they are our relatives, they are acquaintances, and all that. Let us educate them. Let them appreciate the fact that the little money that they get, they can't deprive us of our health and productivity because they want that little money into their pockets. Okay, I'm wondering whether the nation is benefiting from it. If the nation is benefiting from it, then it is different. Okay. But I don't think so, because you go to the mining communities and they don't have any infrastructure.
Absolutely.
So how are we benefiting?
Very true.
You understand?
Yes.
So it's important that we keep our health and then make us productive. If I'm healthy and I can farm and I can get some to eat and some to the market for others to buy and to also consume, it's better than somebody just making all the money and I can't have water and I have to drink contaminated water and always fall sick. It affects my productivity. I can't farm. I can't go to work. I can't do anything. It affects me and it affects the people who depend on my produce. Okay, so it's important that we all get our lunch together. The media, let us continue talking about it. We as a company will also do education because we can't go and fight them. They are not armed. Now the security should wake up. Okay, the government's representative at the district and municipal levels must also wake up. Okay, now even within the communities, the youth within the communities, they must wake up. Our chiefs must speak out. Our chiefs must ensure that it ends. We revere our chiefs so much, such that if they have to tell community members or the youth in the community that, look, no more Galamsey within our jurisdiction, that will cease.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we all have a role to play. And I think we need to do something. Everybody should, the little that you can do, if you put everything together, it will become enormous enough and make us formidable enough to stop the few people who are doing it. Look at the population of people involved in illegal money compared to the rest of us. They are less than our population. And why do we allow the few people to hold all of us to ransom and to treat us the way they are treating us? Okay, please.
I think
everybody, for me, I think everybody has a role to play, and we all need to do what is expected of us.
Absolutely. Collective action to end this matter. Yes, of course, I will have final words for you.
I accept that we all have a role to play. That is, nobody can argue with that. But ultimately, we have a government for a reason. True. We all have a role to play. Yes, the chiefs should secure their area, but ordinary citizens cannot declare a state of emergency. Where you meet with people who are heavily armed, there's not much you can do. So everybody has a role to play. But if those who want to be in government, those who are in government are not playing their role, what we can do is certain things, but it's limited. And right now, where we've reached, I don't think it's a question of education per se. The best form of education is enforcement. For heaven's sake, let's secure the water bodies, let's secure our forests, let's repeal LI 2462, and let's clamp down on those who are committing mass murder. Because at the end of the day, it's murder when you poison somebody, when you willfully poison somebody. And let's stop the pretense of putting our presidency on the line and actually do something to protect Ghanaians.
All right. I appreciate your time very much, ladies and gentlemen. Awula Serwah is eco-conscious Ghana. But you remember that we are in an election year. We've got 96 days to go to the polls and decide who should lead this country, and 276 members of parliament. The political parties, they have a position on illegal mining. I'm just going to run you through what the political parties, especially the MPP and NDC, their position on illegal mining as contained in their manifestos. So this is from the MPP. Their flag bearer is the current Vice President, Dr. Mamadou Bawumia. He says the next MPP government will invest in the geological investigation of mineralized zones from 2025 to 2029 to direct small-scale mining. Right, so that is the part of the MPP manifesto on illegal mining. I'm hoping I will bring you more and, of course, also get to look at the NDC's on before we take a short break and return with more on the pulse. All right, so we'll bring that a little later as we focus more on illegal mining on this show. This is the pulse here on Joy News. Let's do some other stories now. And the Electricity Company of Ghana has begun an aggressive exercise to replace all 40 meters in parts of Accra. The exercise, which started today from the Accra East District, is targeted at over 250,000 40 meters spread across La, Legon, Adentan, Kwabenya, and its environs. Listen to the regional manager for the Accra East District, Engineer Bismarck Otu, who spoke to the media before the start of the exercise.
The Electricity Company of Ghana has announced an exercise to change all old 40 meters for customers in major parts of Accra. The exercise has kick-start today, Monday, the 2nd of September, and will continue, according to the ECG, for the next 2 months. First, listen to Regional Director of the ECG in the Accra East region on the number of meters they expect to change and the essence of this exercise.
We have over 250,000 meters to be replaced in this exercise. That is the Nuri meters within Accra East. In fact, this number is within Accra East. When you go to the other regions, we have some more than this number to replace. And so within Accra East, we have over 250,000 meters that we are going to replace. These meters, as I said earlier on, have become dysfunctional. They are not working very well. And so in the interest of our customers and our own interest, we need to replace them so that there will be some more transparency in our dealings with our customers. These meters in Accra is scattered across the Makola district. We have some in Roman Ridge district. We have some in Legon district. We also have some in Adenta district, Dodowa district, Kwabenya district, and a few in Teshi district. And so all these areas, we are going to cover them within the Accra East region. And more importantly, in recent times, we have had instances where the Nuri meters, loses communication with the servers. And so for a long time, a customer will be consuming without recharging appropriately. And therefore, when the communication is established, a customer is given a huge negative balance. It has become a very worrying situation to us. And so we want to replace these meters with more modern ones that are, timely, that communicate with our system so that there will be transparency.
But the key question is, which particular meters are the Nuru meters? Which ones are going to be changed and which ones are going to be fixed for you? One official actually took us through an explanation of the differences in some of those meters. Let's start with these two here. What's the issue with them?
This one is the one that have an issue. You see, this one need to communicate with the server. And in most cases, there is a communication break. So the customer will be buying, but the meter will not go off. You will not even be buying, but it will not go off. So when the communication...
the advantage of the customer.
So when the communication re-established, then it goes on to the negative. But this one don't have that.
Meaning the two are prepaid?
Yes, they are all prepaid. Every meter here are prepaid.
I see. Then this one, two in the middle.
This one don't have communication issue, but the issue is that they are more than 10 years. If the meter is more than 10 years, the electricity meter, then become obsolete. It can't function well, so we need to replace them.
By the way, have they also developed any challenges, or just because they are 10 years old, it is mandatory?
One or two challenges.
So these are the ones you are replacing them with?
Yes, this is the new MMS compliance that we are changing the meters.
I see one is bigger than the other. What's the difference?
This is three-phase meter, and this is a single-phase meter.
Three-phase, basically for people using it to do work or all of that. What's the difference?
No, it depends on your consumption. So if you are having maybe your house about 6 air conditioning, heater, and the rest, it's better you have three-phase meter. So
for guest house, hotels, and
If we have even a higher meter more than this.
But they are all prepaid.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are here at La, and the ECG team have already begun the exercise, changing some of the meters for some customers.
You can use the one on the meter, 007. When you punch it, you can see it that your credit that you got has come.
Engineer Bismarck Otu has indicated that a contract has been signed with 10 different contractors in all of the districts under the Accra East region, and they are expected to change all of this 250 meters by end of October this year. Managing Director of the ECG, Samuel Dubik Mahama, has also been warning customers against any move to tamper with any of these new meters.
Please, these meters are smart meters. They are MMS compliant. They are very visible on a dashboard in our offices. Please don't touch these meters because we will know. Please don't tamper with these meters because we will know. There's been a huge revenue leakage, and across the country we have to change close to 1.5 million meters as quickly as possible.
James Ameji here for Joy News.
This is a pause here on Joy News with me, Elton Bobo. We'll take a short break. When we return, I'll tell you a new report on education financing that revealed so many lapses. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the pause here on Joy News. I can now take you live to the office of the Electoral Commission because the EC is addressing the media.
Per the provisions of the law, the registered voter must be physically present to request for the transfer of vote to another polling station. The transfer of vote can only be done at the district offices and requires the presence of the voter, who must be verified using either his or her face or fingerprints. The voters involved in the Tamale South and Sangnerigu constituencies incident have denied taking part in a transfer exercise. What they have alluded to is that their voter ID cards were collected by one Haruna Muniru, ostensibly for the processing of a loan. The said Haruna Muniru was in police custody last week. He is currently on bail and police investigations continue. Preliminary investigations by the Commission have revealed that voter transfers were indeed effected for 38 individuals using the credentials of an Electoral Commission official. The records of those transfers are captured in the voter management system's audit logs. A look at the verification done during the transfer process shows that the photos of the voters from their voter ID cards were used for facial verification and to effect the transfers. Following this incident, the Commission has introduced a liveliness check in the verification process, which is a feature designed to ensure that the biometric data being captured is from a live, present human being and not from a spoof source, such as photograph, which is what was done in this case. The liveliness check has since been built into the system to prevent any such future occurrence. The Commission is currently investigating. While the Commission does not have any evidence to believe that this occurrence is widespread, we have instituted investigations to ascertain if similar incidents occurred elsewhere beyond the reported case in the Tamale South and Sagneregu constituencies. Any such transfers will be reversed, and the perpetrators of such acts shall be dealt with according to the law. Following preliminary investigations again, the Commission has suspended the Pusiga District Electoral Officer and has invited him to respond to the Commission's findings. Once the investigations are concluded, the Commission will take the appropriate action and inform the public accordingly. The Commission would like to assure the public that it will not shield any of its officers, both permanent and temporary, found complicit in any electoral malpractices, and will always allow such persons to face the full rigors of the law. We wish to restate that the Provisional Voters Register is not the final voters register. The central objective of the exhibition exercise is to correct any anomalies and issues with the Provisional Voters Register before the final register is produced. This has been the practice since 1992. The Commission again wishes to assure the public that after the exhibition exercise, the final voters register that will be produced will be robust and credible. The provisional voters register that was prepared for the just ended exhibition exercise and also provided to all political parties has a transferred voters list and an absent voters list for each polling station. The absent voters list should contain a list of all voters that have been transferred out of a particular polling station within the period that the Electoral Commission opened up the register for transfers and special voting. The absent voters list should contain only voters who have transferred their votes and those partaking in special voting. The transferred voters list conversely contains all voters who have been transferred to the polling station within that period. In the preparations towards the 2024 exhibition exercise, the absent voters list and the transferred voters list inadvertently included all transfers that had been done since 2020 when this register was first prepared. This has resulted in a higher than expected number of absent and transferred voters. This understandably may have caused some anxiety to our stakeholders, as exemplified by the press conference addressed by the NDC in the Ejumaku Enyan Esiam constituency of the Central Region. The Commission has corrected this anomaly and will share with all the political parties the corrected absent and transferred voters list for each polling station that contains only those applicants who successfully applied for transfers or special voting for the 2024 general elections. It is also absolutely untrue that the Commission has added names to the voters register in a bid to rig the elections for a particular party. Those allegations are without merit and should be disregarded by the public. The EC has no intention of bloating the register to give any political party advantage over the other. As explained earlier, the cumulative transfer data from 2020, 2023, and 2024 were inadvertently summed up in the registers provided to the political parties. This has been corrected and the revised register will be provided after all corrections have been made. The revised transfer list will be shared with the political parties. It is a well-known fact that Ghana has one of the most transparent and inclusive electoral processes in Africa. From registration to declaration of results, all our processes are transparent, inclusive, and open to the political parties and the citizenry. Nothing is hidden. There are no secrets as far as our elections are concerned. Any interested party or citizen can, with no effort, obtain relevant information on all aspects of the electoral process. Therefore, the suggestion that the peace and the outcome of the election is hinged on the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is completely untrue. We urge the public to ignore statements, even from prominent citizens, that suggest that achieving peaceful elections in 2024 is somehow in the bosom of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. This Electoral Commission and the Electoral Commission in general has nothing to hide. The Provisional Voters Register is a public document on display and is available online for voters to access in order to verify their details. This is not a secret document. At the end of the day, the final register will be made available to all the political parties as per the law and normal practice. And individuals who also want to have copies of the register can apply to the commission and they will be given copies. The preparation of the register is a human endeavor. There are bound to be mistakes. This is not the first time the commission has recorded mistakes during registration of voters and compilation of the voters register. This has been the case since 1992. The issues range from missing names, swapped photos and gender, wrong additions or omitted names, etc. This is not new, and this is not going to be the last. The exhibition of the Provisional Voters Register, as designed by law, is meant to correct mistakes. The law provides for inclusion of missing names, removal of names that should not be on the register after due process, removal of names that should not be on the exclusions list after due process, correction of gender, proper placement of voters in their polling stations, etc. This is exactly what the Commission is doing, as mandated by law. Since 2020, the Commission has made painstaking efforts to clean the register using a four-pronged approach through district electoral officers in the various districts, exhibition officers who work at the exhibition centers, voters who go to check their details at the exhibition centers, and our IT staff. This was not the case before 2020, and this has ensured a credible register that reflects those who qualify to be on it, while no qualified voter is left out. The public may recall that in 2020, the same negative propaganda was launched about the register during exhibition. The Commission used the issues that came up during the 2020 exhibition to clean the register to ensure it was credible. As a result, there was not a single complaint that came through about the register during and after the 2020 elections. At the end of the day, the 2020 elections were rated very highly by citizens as well as local and international election observers. We call on the public to reject statements that the register is not fit for the 2024 elections or that it is incurably defective. The register is robust and credible. At the end of the day, the final certified register will reflect corrections of all identified errors. Who gives out a document and make it openly accessible to all? Openly accessible to all if the intention is to add on illegal persons. It is important to note that the political parties have copies of the 2020 register, the 2023 register, records of the daily registration reports from the 2024 limited voters registration, and mop-up registration exercises. This is a transparent and inclusive process that is not exclusive to the EC. Therefore, unless they can show any proof, those alleging that the Commission is trying to cook data should be ignored. The Commission reassures the public and its stakeholders that the anomalies detected through the exhibition exercise and their correction do not in any way affect the validity of the voters' register and the ability of valid voters to vote on election day. As a Commission, we continue to demonstrate and reflect the values of transparency, integrity, and fairness in all our operations. We are fully mindful that the voters' register is the bedrock and foundation of an election. We are well aware that a credible voters' register is a sine qua non for a transparent, peaceful, and fair election. The Commission is committed to conducting and delivering free, fair, transparent, peaceful, credible, and inclusive elections in December 2024. We entreat the general public to support the Commission for successful general elections in 2024. We thank you very much for your attention. Electoral Commission, transparency and accountability in motion. Thank you very, very much for your attention.
At this point, we don't want to go local for our tree processes, which I will speak now. Okay, so I think he's going to summarize it in tree for our camp brothers. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Tete. I'm said the Electoral Commission, you can't even say. Nancy, ya titi say, incrophobia.
Right, so we are back from the headquarters of the Electoral Commission. The news conference is addressing the concerns raised regarding the just ended voter exhibition exercise, and we'll bring you more of that in subsequent bulletins. Now, the governing New Patriotic Party is grappling with a number of its sitting MPs deciding to run as independent presidential candidates in the 2024 election. MPP, Member of Parliament for Fuhum, Kwadwo Asante, and Member of Parliament for Awuna West, Cynthia Morrison, have formally announced they will be ditching their party and run as an independent candidate. Will this number rise, and what will the party do about it? Member of our political desk, Kwaku Asante, reports.
28 NPP MPs lost their bid to return to parliament in their party's parliamentary primaries held last year. 2 of them now set to run against their party in the general election as independent candidates. There are now fears within the party that there may be more announcements on the way. NPP MP for Aguna West, Cynthia Morrison, was the first to announce her candidature. Joy News understands the party is still working to convince the former gender minister to drop the plans of running as an independent candidate. Even before the dust on that will settle, another NPP MP, Awula Serwah, has also announced he's going independent.
They did the help. They petitioned me. And then they said that it doesn't matter what has happened. I should come and serve them. I should come and continue my work. So if you are talking about what, sort of the impetus, my voice, what is pushing me to do what I'm doing or to do this declaration, then all that I would say is that it is Suhum people. It is what? Suhum people. One person cannot say that they're going for independence. One person. Can one person go for independence? I'm asking you, can one person go for independence? One person cannot go for independence, right? Yeah, it is the base. It is what? The base.
Prior to this announcement, party bigwigs, including Minister for Food and Agriculture, had made moves to convince the Member of Parliament for Suhum to back down. What is clear now is that those overtures were unsuccessful. Article 3H of the NPP's constitution is clear. Any member of the party who stands as an independent candidate against the officially elected member of the party is deemed to have forfeited his or her membership. In 2020, a certain NPP legislator, NP for Fomina Andrew Amokwesiama, broke away from the party to run as an independent. He was expelled from the party and his seat in parliament declared vacant. The party does not have that luxury of a wide majority in parliament currently and may not be able to expel these 2 MPs and declare their seats vacant, as that will send the governing party into opposition in parliament and make them the minority. That will surely torpedo government's legislative agenda, given the key businesses currently before the House ahead of its dissolution in January. Kwaku Asante for Joy News.
Of course, we have more stories on myjoyonline.com. Stories, MPP opens nomination set to elect new parliamentary candidate for Wale Wale on September 8th after court ruling today. We demand urgent fixing of 40 elevators, that's Akando. Fumes after storming Kolebu Teaching Hospital. There's also Galamsey, Ghana, on the brink of severe water crisis. Who is saying this? That's the Ghana Water Company Managing Director. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed the pause. We are back tomorrow, same time at 3 p.m. for another exciting edition. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope is profitable. My name is Elton Robe. Have a good evening and stay safe.